This is Bill Carter and Fred Kruger for From Vinyl TV. We're talking to Fee Waybill today. The Tubes are doing a show tonight here in Kalamazoo, and we're going to ask Fee a couple of questions about the show and then a couple of questions that I think everybody wants to know. Fee, for those who don't know, who's currently in the Tubes lineup?
The Tubes are now currently a 5-man band. 4 of us are from the original Tubes. The drummer, Prairie Prince, bass player, Rick Anderson, lead guitar, Roger Steen, and our keyboard player is a guy named David Med. So we're bass, drums, guitar, keyboard.
Excellent. So what kind of a show will the fans expect today? Fans and new fans, old fans?
Well, we just your typical Tube show. I mean, we kind of change our show every year, and throw in different combinations of songs, and we kind of tailor it to the venue. If we're doing a club, or if we're doing an outdoor show, or if we're doing like tonight, we're doing a show for a family show, all ages show. So they don't want anything too weird. There's no bondage, nothing weird, nothing that we would play at a over 21 club late at night. This is kind of family, so it's pretty much straightforward rock and roll, a lot of up-tempo rock and roll songs, and a few costume changes, but not too many. But I'll probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, or something, 4 or 5. I don't know. I haven't counted, but Jesus Bongo will not be here tonight. No, he's strictly a club act. He's way too filthy for the Taste of Kalamazoo. This is a family thing. It's a family show here in Kalamazoo.
Fee, when the Tubes started out, were you after cult status or hit-making status? What were you after?
I don't think anybody is after cult status. If you ask me, you ask any band guy. Nobody wants to be poor and not sell records. It's just that's what happened. We were weird. We got on a label who thought, kind of treated us like their pet band, A&M. They really didn't spend a lot of money trying to promote us or get us on the radio because they thought we were too weird. And they liked that. They wanted a weird band, but that was never our intention. And but that's what happened. The first 5 records we did with A&M were kind of not selling very well. And they, after 5 records, they released us. They kind of got tired of the whole cult band thing. It got old. All they did was spend money, and never made any back. So then we went to Capitol, and we sat down with the Capitol guy, the vice president, and he said, "Look, you got to sell records. If you want to stay on Capitol, if you want to stay in the record business, you got to sell records. It's that simple. You got to get on the radio. You got to have a hit."
Who introduced you to David Foster?
A guy named Bobby Columbi, who was an A&R guy. Used to be the drummer of Blood, Sweat, and Tears years ago, and he was an A&R guy at Capitol back in 1980, and he introduced us to David. We actually met we probably met 10 producers, potential producers before we found David, and we knew within like 5 seconds after we met David Foster that he was the guy, and he had just finished doing Boogie Wonderland with Earth, Wind & Fire, and we were big Earth, Wind & Fire fans. We loved them. We loved the whole R&B thing, and he had just written After the Love Is Gone, had been a big hit, but Boogie Wonderland was huge, and he had never done a rock and roll album, so it was great.
You did a couple of really successful commercial albums with David,
yes.
And then you went to Todd Rundgren for Love Bomb, and that didn't do so well. And how did you feel about that?
I quit the band. Wasn't thrilled. I was against it, and fought it all the way. As so did the record company, so did the manager, so did the booking. Nobody wanted it to happen because it was a mistake. It was pretty much the end of our career, basically. And but it's a long, complicated story, which I'm sure we don't have time to explain now. But it was politics, and it was David in the studio, and he kind of got had a difficult relationship with some of the guys, and so it just kind of worked out that way, and it wasn't the smartest move that we ever made. I did Read My Lips right after Outside Inside when they decided we're not using Foster, we're going to Todd Rundgren. And Todd Rundgren, they said they had to wait for 6 months. Oh, great! Now you're. Oh, that's Read My Lips. Yeah, that's what I did instead of the album that should have been the third album with David Foster, which should have catapulted us into still playing big time shows and making big time money instead of playing weekends in Kalamazoo.
Well, Fee, we have a special guest here tonight, Todd Rundgren. Can you come in here, please?
Great. No, Todd and I are actually okay with this, but he produces a different way than David Foster. He does things by feel. He doesn't really care. David Foster is a perfectionist. In fact, that was the problem. With Foster, you have to be perfect. And if you're a little too high or if you're hungover from the night before, he kicks you out of the studio and he goes, okay, that's it, you're done. And he gets somebody else to come in and play the part. He doesn't care about a band, which is, I don't know, it's all about the album. The album is the most important thing. If it's not every guy in the band playing on every song in the album, he doesn't care. It's about the album and about making a great album that's perfect. And that's what we had. And after doing 2 of those albums, when we got ready to do the third album, he said, well, since Fee and I and Steve Lukather wrote Talk to You Later and She's a Beauty, we had no songs to follow them as other singles. So how about if we write 3 or 4 songs this time? And then you guys in the band, you can do whatever you want on side B. Well, that's what flipped out the band. And they all flipped out. And I understand that. We had been a band, by that time we had been in a band for, 10, 12 years. And he's, telling the band guys that, no, we don't want you to play on this. We would have been a big hit. We would have had 4 hit singles. And we would have, we'd be REO's Speedwagon today, or Def Leppard, or Journey, or somebody like that.
None of those are Canadian.
No, they're not Canadian bands. But they all make a lot of money. And we don't make any. We do this now for fun. And it pretty much doesn't support any of us. I have a commercial property development company. I manage 1 million square feet of commercial property. That's what I do to earn a living. Not this. This is fun. Although it's okay with me because I enjoy this as a hobby, and I don't want to go like REO, Speedwagon, and Journey out on tour in a bus all summer long, living in a bus and playing show after show after show. I'd rather do this on weekends and then go home on Sunday night.